So I recently got a request. Someone asked how to make their photos look like Polaroids in a slideshow. And honestly, this is such an easy effect and a really cool one. And it's a lot easier than you might think. So let's get into it. All right, you can see that I have Premiere Pro open here, and I already have a timeline, and I also already have my footage here in the B-roll folder in the project panel. The first thing that I'm going to do is take my Statue of Liberty photo and lay it on the timeline. I'm going to zoom in on the timeline so that we can see things a little more clearly. And then I'm going to right-click on the clip in the timeline, head all the way down to the bottom to fill frame. And you'll see in the project panel that now the photo is not zoomed in and it appropriately fills the frame. Next, we want to add the Gaussian blur to this background photo. So I'm going to come down to this little caret here, down to Effects, and I'm going to search for the Gaussian blur. There it is. I'm going to drag it onto the clip on my timeline and come up here to Effect Controls, and you can see that it's here. I think 20% is a little bit too much. It's kind of hard to see the Statue of Liberty. So I'm going to drop it down to 15. And now we get a little bit more of an impression of the photo without it being too overwhelming, I think, for the background. The next thing that I did on my background is I added some light leaks. So let's head over to the Film Impact Dashboard. I have that already embedded in my workspace here. And I am gonna go to, under Effects, I'm gonna go to Lights and Glows. And here's light leaks. And if I click Apply, here it is added to my clip on the timeline. If you want to make any changes to your light leaks, you can find them under Effect Controls. I think I'll drop the saturation down to 50, make it a little bit less noticeable. But I like the full spectrum of light here for this particular sequence. So now we need to create a second timeline in order to make this particular photo look like a Polaroid. I'm going to come down here to this caret to right click and open up the project panel. And from there I will right click and I'll see New Item, Sequence. You can see these are the same sequence settings as I used for this sequence number 1. So now I'm going to make another one with the same sequence setting, and I'm going to call it Tutorial 2. And here we are. The first thing that we want to do is draw that white background for a Polaroid. If you come over to the toolbar, you'll see the rectangle tool here. I want you to click that, come onto the program monitor, and draw a square. If your background did not automatically show the transparency grid, you can turn that on here by clicking on this wrench in the program monitor and scroll down to transparency grid to make sure that that's checked. If we come over to the properties panel, you want to make sure you've clicked on shape 1 in order to get these choices. You can change your fill. For a Polaroid, we're going to go for the classic white here. And then you can add a drop shadow if you'd like. I think it helps it to pop and stand out in the original tutorial. And so I checked that. Now we want to make sure our square is aligned in the center of the screen. So I'm going to click Align Center Horizontally, and then come over here, Align Center Vertically. I'm going to zoom in on my timeline so we can see things just a little more clearly. Next up, I'm going to go back over to the project panel, grab that Statue of Liberty photo, and drag and drop it onto the second track here on the timeline. I'm going to shorten the end to make sure it's the same length as the white graphic underneath it. And then I'm going to come over to Effect Controls, and I'm going to scale this image way, way, way down. Now you can see that it's not quite the right shape for a Polaroid, right? So I'm going to scooch it up a little because we want a larger space on the bottom for our writing. And then I'm going to open up crop left and crop right. And I'm going to crop this image just a little bit on both sides. Next up, we want to write in some nice handwriting font the location of this landmark. What is it? Come down to the toolbar, click on the type tool, and then come up to the program monitor and just click. We can type Statue of Liberty. Come back over to the toolbar and click the selection tool, and then we can move this to be right underneath the picture. You can see when you typed Statue of Liberty, it automatically created another clip on track 3. With that clip selected, we're going to come over to the Properties panel, and I picked Bradley Hand because I thought that looked a little bit like some handwriting. I dropped the font size to make sure that it would fit into that space on the Polaroid. And then the one thing I do want to do is come down to Align and Transform again, and I just want to make sure it's nicely centered. So I'm going to click Align Center horizontally. That moved it just a little bit. We are going to go back over to our other sequence, tutorial 1, and this is when we get to drop the Polaroid image on top of the background image. So with tutorial 1 open, we can come over to the project panel, head down to tutorial 2, grab that sequence and drag it onto the timeline. This nests the sequence for us. You can see I've got a video track and an audio track. I don't need both, so I'm going to select it, right click, go down to unlink, and then I can select that audio track and delete it. And now you can see we've got the picture of the Statue of Liberty on top of a blurry image of the same picture with light leaks moving across the bottom. We have a little bit of a drop shadow underneath that Polaroid, and it's popping up really nicely. Let's rotate it just a little. There we go. It's a little bit off center. I think that looks nice. And then for my transitions from one picture to the next, I went back to the Film Impact dashboard and played around with different choices and found one that I liked. Let me show you what that was. Open up the Film Impact dashboard again. Come down underneath Transitions, you'll see Smart Tools. I went into Motion Tween and I applied that and then went through various choices for transitions that they have to offer and picked one that I liked best. And that's it from me. If you thought this video was helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help. And if you want more tips like this, head down to the description box below. I have a free guide and there are 4 tips for how to fix a slow, clunky edit. It's free, so grab it if you need it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.